Hello, hello, everyone. Thank you for joining another segment of the Other Woman magazine. Our guest, Maurice Harris, is backstage. I just want to welcome you all to this segment with our very first male guest, Maurice Smiley Harris. Maurice is also a subscriber to the Other Woman magazine. And the Other Woman magazine is published by Candy Publishing, who is also the publisher of Sidelined, Maurice's upcoming book, co authored by Robert Congress. We're going to bring Maurice on in a few minutes. I just want to give you a little background. He has been through a lot in life. He was a FSU, Florida State University um, recruited by a Division I football program, but there were several other schools that recruited Maurice. He had a wonderful future preparing him to enter into the NFL, which was a dream of his, and his dream was deferred by some choices that he made. And you can read all about it in the book, which will soon be released. And right now I'm going to bring Maurice on. We've been waiting for this, or should I say I've been waiting for this. I don't know how excited Maurice is, but him being the first male to peel back the layers with the Other Woman magazine, I am grateful. Hello, Maurice. Good evening.
Hey, how you doing?
Great, great. And how are you?
I'm great. I'm great. It's
Uh,
long time coming.
yes, it is. Yes, it is. Let's first of all share how we met. Do you remember? Well, we haven't actually met in person, but
Mhm.
how we were connected. Do you remember?
Start from the beginning. So I always been transparent with people. So um I was in prison and I met someone. I told them my story so they wouldn't.
Hmm.
It was an administrator, and so she wouldn't feel uncomfortable or anything because they know our charges and everything. So I told her what was going on and told her the whole background. And she said, "Oh, I know someone who can make that a book." And I was like, "Yeah," and she was like, "Yeah." When you get out, I think I had probably 6 months left on my sentence.
Hmm.
And she said,
Hmm.
write this down. And I wrote it down and I saved it with a lot of my stuff that I was taking home. And as soon as I got out, I contacted you. And that's
And what was it? What was it about the timing? We're going to get into a little bit of history first, but so far as you writing a book, what was it about the timing of the book? Why did you feel it necessary, or why did you have a desire to share? Like you said, you're transparent. For a lot of
um,
people that may be listening,
mhm.
Maurice, that just don't feel comfortable telling their story. But you have been more transparent probably than any writer that I've known, that I've worked with, the things that you share in your book. So, what
Mhm.
was the timing? Why was that important for you to share?
Um, well, transparency it's the fact of, I guess, it's like a defense mechanism. Like, if I say everything, you don't got nothing to say. You know? So
You know
that's
what?
that's kind of what it is. You
You, it's funny
know.
you said that because I'm pretty much like that also with the Other Woman
Mhm.
magazine and my books. If I say it, you can't come up with, well, they can gossip, but if I
Right.
say it, they have nothing else to say. It's already
Right.
said. I already said it.
Hmm.
So going back to the beginning, you were born and raised in
Homestead, Florida.
Homestead, Florida.
Yeah.
You moved to Albany, Georgia, what, as a adolescence?
My mom decided to. It got really expensive, and I know it's still rising. Prices,
Hmm.
inflation, everything is still rising now. But she decided to move. I believe my 10th grade year. Um,
Okay.
so I was roughly 15, 16.
Okay.
She decided to. She had family up here, and they said they'll help her. So she moved up first by herself with my younger sister, and then
Hmm.
I, I moved up after she got settled in a little bit. Um,
Okay, and you were an active child, active. You were already active in sports, correct?
yes, yes. I wrestled, I ran track, played basketball, football. Yeah, and I walked for miles. Sometimes with a dog. I always had a dog that I walked with. Went fishing and stuff with them and stuff like
Okay, and you would walk for miles to find other friends
that. Right, right.
to
So
play
something to do.
football with, something to
Right,
do, to
right.
play.
Just
And it was
something.
usually sports, correct?
Correct. Usually
O-
sports, just any thing, sports, like fish. I said fishing. Um,
mhm.
so it's something that occupy my mind.
Okay. And through all the sports that you played, football, you recognized early, and others recognized that that was your sport. That was the one sport that you had, that you excelled in. You probably excelled in all of them, but football was the one that stood out more than the other sports. Correct?
Um,
No?
In a sense, it did. I guess as a team, as a team sport, yes. I feel like I was better at wrestling, but we just, wrestling is not really a Florida thing. You
Uh-huh.
have to really be in a right position to excel in wrestling in Florida. It's mostly a northern thing that people really take wrestling to heart, and I really liked it because it was an individual sport, and I started kind of late, so I wasn't really committed to it, and I was already, head deep into football. So it's just, yeah, we just went to football.
Okay. And football in your high school. So you played youth football up through high
Yeah,
school.
I started at 90 in year 96, so I was probably like 6, 7.
Okay. So you've been playing football for a long time. High
Mhm.
school was when you really allowed your athleticism to show. That's when it was beginning to be noticed. But growing up, everyone knew that you were what, the fastest one in the neighborhood. You
That's
just
that's one of the things I did. Raced. I raced people. Like let's race. Let's race. Let's see who will win. I had a couple guys I used to race probably once a week to see. Oh,
uh-huh.
I think I could beat you this time, or yeah, he think he could beat me, something like that. We did that just continually.
So
You
you
know,
were really competitive.
right, right, absolutely.
Okay. So let's move on. We've had the youth sports. We played in high school, and that's when the recruit letters begin to come.
Yeah, let me point out my uncle. My uncle, the difference between when I was in Georgia, that's one of the reasons I left Georgia to come back or to go back to Florida, because the recruiting was real bad in Georgia. They didn't really market the players like that. And my uncle, he's amazing in doing that. He was amazing. He stopped now, but he had a big old. I remember a big old folder full of recruiters from colleges. It was thick, and he could just put anyone in college, anybody.
Can you
And
give his name? Why don't you give
um,
him a shout out? Give your uncle a
yeah,
shout out.
hey, Uncle Bobby
Okay.
McCray. Yeah,
Bobby McCray. Okay.
he did a lot. So he was a very important figure in my life, and he did a lot to get me to where I was at. So I can't take that away from him.
Right. And that's important to mention also because you mentioned in your book that most of your mentors or father figures were
Mhm.
coaches, mainly
Correct.
your uncle, because
Hmm.
you grew up in a single parent home. Your mother raised you.
Yeah.
Your father was there, but
Right. In and out.
in and out, in and out. Okay. So with all of that being said, you did have somewhat of a rough childhood, being active, being curious, being, the typical boy, but
Hmm.
you did have some, what would you call them? Mischief
Right, right,
activity.
right, right, right. You just looking from the outside in. Looking from the outside in, yeah, you could say that. But while
Hmm.
doing it, I didn't think I was doing anything crazy. It's just in the moment doing it, I'm just having fun. It's just that's the norm. So it was the norm at the
Right.
time.
Just
Yes.
doing boy things.
Right, right.
Yeah. Okay. So we're in high school, the recruit letters are coming. Did that mean anything to you when you started getting the letters?
Actually, not at first. Not at first. I didn't really know what it meant. I didn't know. I just my goal was for to get to the NFL, but I didn't know about the colleges. I didn't know about the avenue that I had to take to get there. So I just saw the end, and I didn't see the journey. Yes, I was playing football, but that was just fun to me. Just doing it. And trying to get to the NFL, but I didn't think about the schooling, the college, what I have to do there. And I wasn't really thinking about that.
The
Uh,
process.
right, the process. I didn't consider that much.
Okay, so why don't you share some of the schools? Now, you must have been pretty doggone good because you were recruited by Division I football programs, several
Right,
Division I.
right, and I will like I said, I'll put a lot of that to credit it to my uncle. We had a great team. We had a great
Hmm.
team. I think at that we had 7 guys go D1 that year. And
Wow.
also we had also a NFL player that came back to help my uncle to coach, and he brought a lot of NFL players in, which my uncle did as well. But he went to the University of Miami, so he had alumni from there to come in and talk to us, to encourage us. Even my uncle had a what you call him, an agent come in and talk to us. He had a
Okay.
lot of people come in and talk to us and stuff. But yeah, because he marketed me and us well. I had the chance to visit 5 schools. A lot of people don't get that chance. So I visited my first visit. I visited Arizona State. Arizona State. So
Hmm.
the Phoenix for the first Phoenix, Arizona, I believe it's in for the first time. That was fun. It was I think it was like 100 degrees during the day, and it got down like 40 at night. That was a crazy experience, but it was good to
Hmm.
experience that. I went to Wisconsin. So that was my first time seeing snow. That was cool. Um, and I went to Rutgers. Rutgers, that was good in New Jersey. So we went and saw Times Square. I um I rode on a train for the first time. That was cool in New York. Then I went to we had a unofficial trip to Florida and Central Florida. Those was great trips. Then I went to no, I said Arizona State. I went to Ole Miss. Ole Miss. I went to Ole Miss.
Wow.
That was
Wow.
cool. That was good. Then I went to Florida State, and that was my 5.
I'm
Those-
I'm just grinning. I'm beaming just listening to the listening to the school. So, and out of all those schools, well, you had a journey just visiting the schools. So that
Oh
was really your first time leaving home and
yeah.
traveling. Was it outside of your
Um,
hometown?
No, we when I was younger, I believe it was like 10. I was 10, 9. My mom and my family we went up to Chicago. We with my cousin, we drove up there. It was like a whole day of driving to get up there.
Okay.
So yeah, I remember those mountains and stuff a little bit. I know I was very young, but I remember that.
Uh-huh.
But I left there and we was in Georgia. We went to Georgia a couple times, so Georgia and back. But that's about the
Okay.
experience of my traveling was in Chicago, going to Chicago.
Okay. So out of all the schools in those different states, how did you choose Florida State University? And what was it about FSU? And you're grinning, so
Right. So it was odd. I don't know how odd it is because I haven't talked to many people or football players. But all right. So who came at me hard? They came at me. That was the first people to offer me, and I was very excited about how excited they were. It was Wisconsin. So I told my mom. She was like, "Hey, go to Wisconsin," and they market. They like salesmen. It's like, yeah, we can do this. We're gonna do this. We got our own nutritional plan, and we make our own shakes and everything. And I was like, yeah, I'm going to Wisconsin. So everything. So so then Ole Miss came, and they came to one of my wrestling meets. I had a wrestling meet. They said, "Oh, I can wrestle, and I can play football." And then they say, "Oh, this is closer than Wisconsin. You don't got to deal with all that cold." Told my mom, she said, "Oh yeah, go to Ole Miss. It's closer. It's 3 hours away." I said, "Okay, I'm going to Ole Miss." So that's how it happened. So then, 5 days before signing day, um, Chuck Amato came. He was a head coach for NC State. They was recruiting me at NC State, but they were on their way out, so they went to Florida State, and he came 5 days before signing day and was like, "Hey man, we want you to come visit and do this, do that." And then my mom, she drove to Tallahassee on my visit, and she had got the experience of the school. She listened to the student advisors and everything. She was like, "Oh, I can drive here. I can't drive to Ole Miss. Oh, I can, but it'll be longer. So can you? What about Florida State?" And I was like, "Okay, Florida State," and that's how I chose. Because it was
So,
close.
so your mom she was involved.
Right,
Your mom
right,
was involved in helping you. So, being a mother myself, your mother was obviously a great part of your life throughout
mhm,
your not just sports, but you and your mother have a pretty good relationship, even from
yeah,
as a young boy.
yes, yes. Mhm.
Okay, so good on you, Mom. So Florida State University was it. What was going through your mind? You coming from a young boy coming from Homestead, Florida. That's in Florida for those who aren't familiar with Homestead, and then Georgia. A little hometown boy, country boy. Can I say you're a country boy? Were you a little country boy? Or were you a city boy?
I don't know. I don't know. Yeah, I
Okay, little
don't
boy,
know.
growing up in the neighborhood, racing, just having fun, having a good time, and all of a sudden, bam, you're with a Division I football program, Florida State University. Um, Coach Bobby Bowden, correct? That
Right, right,
that's
right.
huge. That's
Yeah,
huge. I don't know if you know that, but people will give you a second look. They'll do a double take. Okay,
right.
this guy must be pretty good. So you enter Florida State. What was your first reaction, if you remember, walking on to the football field of Florida State? What's the stadium called?
I, I don't
You know.
know. I
Okay, so
don't know.
walking on the field,
Right.
what was going through your mind?
Walking on the field.
Yeah, for the first time.
So that'd be practice. I just if it was practice, I just I had to prove myself, and that's basically what I did. Um, it hurt me in the long run, but whatever. But I just had to prove myself. So what happened was I was just trying to be the best I can be, and
What
so
position were you playing?
I played linebacker, weak side linebacker. Um,
Okay.
so, going on the field, going into practice and everything. Starting in the weight room, I was very, intense on that, and I always worked hard and everything. But going into practice, one of our top linebackers got hurt, so I had to go up and really step up and show because we didn't have depth. So I had to show that what I can do and try to fill in. And I did a good job, and they liked me, from the beginning. It's
Mm-hmm.
that I got because I wrestled 189, so I went in at like 192. So I'm playing linebacker, which they usually 220 ish, two.
Mm-hmm.
I'm 192, hitting the 300-pound lineman. But I
Wow.
had hard and I kept doing it, but I ended up getting injured because of that probably.
So you're
But
actually pretty on the small side,
oh yes,
weight wise, for a
yeah,
linebacker. Because
boosters.
linebackers are usually,
Yeah, they're bulky. Yeah, so I'm at my size now is probably um where I was when I went in. So it's about probably like 190 to 200, and
wow.
they used to probably get me mixed up with receivers. Oh, you play receiver? You play receiver? I'm like, nah, I play linebacker. It's like what? Yeah, and with my long neck and everything, I
Wow.
got much
So
muscle.
why did you play linebacker and not receiver?
So that's a crazy story. So going into ninth grade, I I was practicing for receiver. Actually, I was practicing for receiver. I went on two routes at practice, and I dropped two balls. I dropped both the balls, and the defensive coordinator, he was like, "Hey man, you probably need to come over here and play linebacker." I was like, "Nah, I want to play receiver." He was like, "But with your because he knew I wrestled and he knew my background in wrestling, so he was like, "Man, with your wrestling skills, you can tackle, and you got speed." So and since then, I never looked back from that. But yeah, so I've been a linebacker since then. Since he told me to, come over to, I dropped him two passes, and he told me to go on defense.
You dropped two passes.
Right in practice.
Okay. Someone just let me know the name of that stadium is Doak Campbell. Does that
Dope
ring a bell
Campbell.
for you?
Yeah, I don't know how. Yeah, I don't know how I forgot that. Dope Campbell. Dope Campbell Stadium. Wow.
It
Remember, we
is a
didn't.
pretty
Yeah, we
it
didn't.
is a pretty popular stadium,
Oh
right?
yeah, absolutely. I don't know how I
Okay.
forgot that. Wow, Dope
Well,
Campbell. That's them fans probably like, what? You don't remember the choking dog and everything? I'm sorry.
well, it's been a while though, right? It's been a
Right.
while.
It's been a while. It's been a while
Okay.
since I,
Okay.
been on.
Okay. So moving on, you playing linebacker, you're enjoying proving yourself. You knew you had to prove yourself more, your skills, let your athleticism show because you were a small linebacker. You're
Mhm.
practicing. What about your first game? Can you
Oh, my first
remember
game.
your first game?
That's something. Right. That's something I can't remember. We had a away game at Clemson. I was on. Oh, excuse me. I was on special teams, and we had a away game. And so I started the game kickoff. I was on kickoff, and they had a fast guy, CJ Spiller, and I remember making my first tackle on my first play. So, yeah, he broke out on the sideline, and I caught him. I got him with an angle and caught him and made that tackle, pushed him out of bounds. So that was a good thing. That was a good
You were
thing.
proud of that.
Oh yeah, I was happy. I was like, wow, that's crazy. That was crazy.
Okay. Now,
Mhm.
Maurice, people are watching. They're seeing the post, the cover of the book. This FSU player recruited by several Division I schools. You're doing your thing. Something happens, and you end up in prison. Now,
Mhm.
we're not going to share the incident. If you all want to know the story, you got to read the book, right,
Yeah,
Maurice? You got to
purchase the
read
book.
the book,
Absolutely.
purchase the book, purchase Sideline, which will
Yeah.
be out this month. But I want to ask you the choices that you made that led you to prison, Maurice. When you look back over your life, do you feel regret? Do you feel, what does it make you feel just talking about it? That you had this dream, the path was practically set for you to go to the NFL, change not only your life, but your family's life, possibly. And
Mhm.
that choice that you made ended up in prison. It ended your dream. How does that make you feel to even talk about it?
Um, to talk about it, it's every time I talk about it, I just hope that somebody get something out of it. That they just, kind of reevaluate themselves and their own decisions. If they're doing the right thing, be like, yes, I'm doing the right thing, or if I'm doing the wrong thing, I got to change. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but when I express, what went on and what happened, I just hope that someone, take something from it, take some meat and throw it a bone, you know what I mean? So
Mm-hmm.
especially this, when I and I get nervous, and sometimes I just hope that people don't judge me the wrong way based on my actions, but that's going to happen either way it goes.
Right.
So I just have to deal with it. Just can't put myself in a position that I'm in. Like, trying to hide out and stuff like that. So I'd be as open as possible and free as possible. Um, and that's how I do it.
So you're being transparent to help others who may
Right.
have been incarcerated or are in prison
And
now. And
right, that and it's just not people who are in prison and incarcerated. It's just normal things. Like yeah, I wasn't always ex-con. You know what I mean? So it's a
exactly,
normal person to make a mistake. So it's just anyone can learn from. Just to see something big. You can see something big, but you can also see the little steps that you're taking that may become big, and that's
right,
just to look at that and be like, okay, I'm in this type of thing and I need to get out of it and stuff like that. So, you know,
right, right. And you're right. It's not just for those who are in prison or been in prison. Your book, when I read it, for lack of a better word, it inspired me. I am so proud of what you're doing with your life now. To look at where you came from and being a prior um, corrections officer in the jail, and you see so many young men who have made mistakes, who have
mhm.
made bad choices. I want to say bad choices, unwise choices, and probably don't see any future ahead of them. But not only what you're have a felony on your record now, correct?
You're correct. Yeah.
Correct. So you're going to live with that for the rest of your life. So
Yeah.
even to get a job, to forward your dreams outside of sports, all of that, you've done that. Now you all have to read the book to find out what Maurice is doing now, but I am going to tell you, he owns his own business now. I'm not going to tell you what it is, but he owns his own business. So he came from, how many years did you spend in prison?
6 years and 10 months.
6 years and 10 months. And you kept a journal while you were in prison. And I am going to read just a couple of sentences of your first, it's not your first day in prison. Let's see. Um, you say it is now approximately 7 o'clock in the morning, Central Standard Time, the last day of the year 2016. So if it was the last day of 2016, you were, let me keep reading. Tomorrow I would be able to think and state that I would be released from prison next year after a little over 5 years of being locked up. I have not eaten in nearly 60 hours and drank my first drop of water about 6 hours ago. My last 76 hours of 2016, I wish to detoxify my body, mind, and spirit. No eating or drinking for 48 hours, then finished out than flushing out with water the last 24 hours. One may ask, to those that understand sacrifice can comprehend my abstaining from the body's basic needs, nourishment that can cloud the mind and veil the spirit. Why was that important for you to go that many hours without eating, Maurice? And
Um,
you already don't get much to eat in prison anyway. But I shared that just to share the mindset that you had while in prison, because your journal, and you were very transparent in your journal, you still tried to keep your body in shape. You still worked out. You still had that habit of being physically fit. But why go so long without eating and drinking?
um, because I realized, like everything else, you can cloud your mind with the basic things. It's just like and being out, and I see that a lot. That people. Well, I'm gonna just stay inside. So inside, I see that people they sleep a lot. They watch TV all day. They gorge on food, and all of that. All of that basically is distractions from what's going on, and that I wanted to do. I wanted to just see what was going on in my life at that time in prison, and not be blinded, or not be not let it be overshadowed by food and things like that. So I just want to clear everything up so I can see clearly of who I was going and where I needed to be.
That's good. That's good. Now, if you can do that in prison, surely those of us who have never been in prison, we can do something like that also. It just helps to detoxify the body. I'm going to read something else right quick. This was on January 2nd, 2017. You see, I can finally say that I'm going home next year to spend time with my true loved ones. I'm now able to distinguish between love and lust. Lust I allowed to occupy my time and energy, which led me to prison. Love is that which energizes and never tires. 1/3/17, you say, just heard another inmate died with only 5 months left on his sentence. A reminder that time is not promised. I'm not going to say the rest of it, they'll have to read that. You say time is not promised. So you look back at the time that you spent preparing for your dream to go to the NFL. Do you feel like that's time lost?
No, not
How do you
not
look
not.
at it?
No, I
Good
look at
answer.
anything that you do, you can get something out of it. You get,
Hmm.
I got, dedication, hard work. I got all of those skills, and teamwork, relying on other people, from football. So that put me in a place where I am now to really fight, out of certain situations,
Hmm.
mindset that I get into. So no, I don't. That's not lost at all. Just that's the thing that I used to say in prison. Like I used to see people that not doing anything with themselves. Try to smoke themselves to death, things like that. And people doing it out here more than that, but I still know that I can learn something from it. I can still,
Right.
no matter how bad someone's off, you can still learn from them. So that's the same with time. No matter what, a bad time or a good time, you can still learn from it and get something out of it to, push you forward in your life and where you want to go.
Right. And you have your degree.
Right, correct.
Share.
Share my degree.
Yes.
Yes, I have my degree. I was going to tell you, when you said step on the field, but when I stepped in Florida State, and this was on my visit, I told them that get me out of here, or out of school, and my degree within 3 years, because I'm going to the NFL. So that's
Wow.
something
Wow.
I say, make sure I graduate in 3 years, because in 3 years I'm gonna be three and out. So that's what I kind of plan to do, and I took 15 credit hours, every semester to accomplish that goal. And I ended up doing it, but I didn't get the degree that I started with. I got a social science degree, interdisciplinary social science, whatever that means. Oh, I got that degree. But I started with business management. With business management, I failed one class, and my coach said, "Oh, you got to put more time into the film room." So I asked the advisor, I was like, "Put me in the easiest degree. What's the easiest I can just don't have to do much in?" And he said, "Oh, this is what it is," and that's what degree I chose, just because of that, not because I had any interest in it or anything.
Does that happen a lot with football players that they'll
Oh,
pick it?
absolutely, absolutely.
Really?
I knew, I knew, I knew a football player personally that couldn't read. So
Mm.
it sucked. So but they were good at football. So they count. You have help and everything about that, but
Tutors. Uh-huh.
it happens. It happens all the time, too often as well. Too often. Too often.
Maurice, what would you share to high school aged young boys? You really can't see the future when you're young like that. You live in the now.
Hmm.
What's happening right now is what matters. They can think about college, but not in the sense of one who's in college and can look back and wish that they had put more time in the books, or they were more focused, or their priorities were different, what would you share with someone? I'm talking about getting education now. What would you share with a young high school talented with a dream to go to the NFL or the NBA, whatever, professional sports? What would you tell them about education?
Um, I just had this conversation about education. One of the guys I was in prison with, I had a conversation with him earlier, and he was like, "Oh, if I was smart as you," and I was like, "What?
Mm,
You?" He's been out 3 years. I've been out 4. Um, he has a house. He has his own business. He has 3 cars or um 3 trucks, and he have an acre of land. And I'm like, smart as me. I, I don't have this stuff. Like, what are you talking about? Smart as me. He was like, oh, but you got the education. If I had that, and I'm like, it's not really based on schooling in a sense, because as sports players, we put a lot of energy, that's mentally and physically into sports. But if we probably back that off a little bit and put it into something that we can really benefit from in the long run, because football, sports really don't last forever. It won't last as long as a trade. If you can't leave and hire somebody for football in a sense. So it's just something that that can learn something that can you can keep doing, and you can teach someone else how to do. So and that's my take on that. I would say it's not about really um education in the sense. It is about learning. You have to learn, but it's something about having something that you can hold on to and benefit from for the rest of your life.
mm-hmm. For
Not
the rest
just
of your life.
right, just not
Right,
just football, not just this main degree type thing. So that's basically what I would say.
do you feel like I know the answer to this, but I want you to share, expound on it, that your degree, having been to prison, and then coming out trying to make a life for yourself with the felony following you, do you feel like your degree is helping you?
Absolutely. It's
Hmm.
it's not the degree per se. It's just the
The
education that I
education,
right. It's the
right.
education that I got with it, and that education is not specified. It's not really specific in the sense. It's not like okay, like because I had some anthropology classes. I'm not really looking at old time people or however whatever we learned at that time, but it's being social with people, knowing
Right,
different cultures, being open, just observing people, seeing how people move around in environments and things like that. And that's basically social science, just to see how environments and cultures interact with each other, and how they grow, and things like that. So it helps a lot, even with my interactions, everyday interactions, it helps. So
right,
I don't,
right,
and that's the thing of getting something out of everything, so I'm not just saying I got nothing out of it. You can get something out of everything, that's how
right,
so that's what I get out of
right.
it. Yeah.
So I see, and I have always noticed this about you from the first time we talked. Like the guy said, if I were as smart as you, you're very smart. You have intellect. You are educated man, Maurice. And I believe just the way you think in not just a positive way, but you're a progressive thinker.
Mhm.
You don't take no for an answer, and obstacles, you just jump right over them. You're going to find a way through. You're going to find a way around. So your book is one of inspiration, motivation. It just will help someone who feels like they have been sidelined to
Mhm.
get back in the game of life. Someone mentioned that they like your title. I love your title also. I just love your title, and returning to the game of life. And that's exactly what you're doing. So not only do you have a stream of income from your business, but now that you're writing this book, and as a publisher, I'm gonna let you know, when you write a book, it kind of, for whatever reason, validates you as a speaker, a motivator. People are going to want to know and get to know the person behind the book. You wrote this book. What you started writing it in what? What year was it when you started writing? Where you were journaling? Let me say that Maurice journaled while he was in prison. Parts of that journal, and it was a thick journal, a couple of journals, one after you got out, one while you were in,
Mhm.
that were able to be used for his book. So I'm always pushing journaling, journal. You just never know where it will end up. Did you have any idea that you were journaling for a book? Is that the reason? Share the reason why you journaled while you were in prison. And most men don't journal.
It's that's another thing that, a key point with being in prison. Like, you do some things that you wouldn't do normally. So so that
Okay.
was that's another thing. Like reading. Like, I read probably a handful of books before prison, but I probably
Mm.
read hundreds of books in prison. So,
Wow.
yeah,
Wow.
and since prison, I only probably read one or two. So,
Uh-huh.
um, yeah,
But
it's
you
not
wrote one and you're writing
right.
this. Yeah.
So we do things that we wouldn't normally do, and me journaling was something to expound my mind. I was reading so much. I was reading classics. I read a lot of books. So that was just something I had ideas in my head, so many ideas, and I just wanted to know what I was doing. Like, if I could look back and be like, okay, what I did, why did I do that, and things like that.
Okay.
So that's kind of
Okay.
why, am I on the right path? Am I getting better, getting worse? Things like that. I just want to know.
We have been working, should I say, you have been working on your book way before COVID. Um, so it's been what, 2 years, probably more,
Yes,
writing your book. And now you see, because you're working on a second book, correct?
yes, yes.
Working on the second book. You all listen to this man. I am just so proud of him. I'm so proud of him. Tell your age, Maurice, if you don't
Uh,
mind.
I'm 32. That's
32. You're
that's kind
probably
of I'm
saying,
kind of I'm kind of old.
oh,
Oh,
please. You're a baby. You've got your whole life ahead of you. You got your whole life ahead of you. Some people don't get started until they're well in their golden years,
mm-hmm.
trying to find their way. You seem pretty focused. And even if you were to run into issues or problems now, there's no doubt in my mind, because of who you are, you're going to find a way around it and you're going to
Mm-hmm.
start again. You're going to start again. There's just no stopping for you. And that is one of the reasons why I wanted you to come on, because of your way of thinking, you affirm yourself. I don't know what you do in your head, but what comes out in public it's inspiring.
Mm-hmm.
And for those who may be watching that have had some hard times, some struggles, you're trying to find your way, please purchase Maurice's book. Now, you had a co author, Robert Congress, who he was a coach before. And I thought that was like the perfect pairing, because he was able to relate a little bit more to your book than the average ghostwriter. He had experience, he knew the terminology, and this is also his first book. So you took a few years to write your book, sidelined from FSU to prison and the return of life, the return to the game of life. We're going to talk about the book a little now. I'm going to show the cover of the book. Do you remember that picture being taken, or were people always on the sidelines just
Yeah, they
taking
was always just
pictures?
taking pictures. Mm-hmm.
Just taking pictures.
Uh,
Well, we
yeah,
did give credit to the person that took that picture in the book for us using it on the cover. And we just want to let you all know that pre-orders, share a little bit, Maurice, that you'll be taking pre-orders for your book. Starting when?
Starting now, right?
Starting now.
Starting now, is that there? So
Yeah.
yeah, we starting now, 15.99. I think that was a good price. Yeah,
Uh-huh.
we
Yeah,
having
that's
so
the pre-order price. Yeah, because the actual
yeah,
price is what,
18.99. Mm-hmm.
18.99. So I'm gonna put your website up there also, mauricesmileyharris.com. His book is now available for pre-order, and the pre-orders will go through, I can't remember, the 15th or the 20th, and then
Yes,
it'll go
I
up to
think
the
I
okay,
think
then it'll
so.
go up to the regular price of
Right.
18.99. You all have heard Maurice's history. We didn't share the incident or the crime, and that was on purpose. We want you to read his book, his comeback. Have you heard the phrase, Maurice, a comeback? Let me see. Gosh, what is it? A comeback is a setup. Have you
No,
heard? You know what I'm talking? A
a setback for
setback.
a
There you
major.
go.
Yeah,
A
yeah,
setback is a setup for a
for
comeback, for a
right.
major comeback.
Mhm.
Am I saying it right?
I don't know. It's something like that. They know it's coming. I'm not sure.
Okay, a setback is a setup for a comeback, for a major comeback. And that's
Right.
exactly what you've done. And Maurice, if you ever feel like you feel discouraged, or you feel like you're just not going to make it, or you jump back to the past and think about where you could have been, how do you get back on track? How do you get back mentally in the game of life? Because I know you go there sometimes because you're
Yeah,
human.
a lot of time,
Yes.
a lot
Hmm.
more than my smile show. You know,
Wow.
so it's just I just need some alone time sometimes. I just need to be, and it's the comparison. I can't compare myself to what could have been or compare myself with other people. Like I told you, the guy, he got all this stuff going on, and one time I did compare myself, and I was like, man, why I'm not there, and
Mm,
you know what? Okay, I'm here. You know what I mean? I'm here. I'm free. I can go out the door. And so I
right.
do compare in a sense, but I try to compare in a way that makes me feel better than worse. So
Mm,
it's just just sitting down and be like, look where I'm at. Like I'm in a good spot. I'm in a good place. I'm healthy. Just so I do compare myself to people less fortunate. And that's one thing I used to say in prison. I used to be like, I'm not in the best situation, but I'm definitely not in the worst. So that's kind of
right.
my head. Hmm.
Right. I want you to share where the Smiley, your nickname Smiley, came from. But before, I only said that because I might forget the question, so you remember the question. But I
Oh
want you to share, you had a business called Helping Hands, was it?
yeah, yeah,
And you started that right after prison, right?
yeah. Hmm.
Share what Helping Hands was.
All right. So helping hands. It was something to put my foot in the door. Actually, I knew that it was going to be hard, coming out or whatever. So and for this guy, the same guy who got everything, he was like, man, sometimes you got to work for free, and
Mm,
you got to show people what you can do and help people. So and most successful people have helped more than they have, they have gave more than they have gained. So
mm-hmm.
I just gave with discount helping hands. I help you do this, I help you do this. So I did a lot of things for free. A lot of
Like
things
what? Like
uh,
what?
like picking up leaves, trash. I cut down trees and stuff for a discounted price. 'Cause some dangerous stuff. I did some dangerous stuff for uh, for for like a big discount, and I just felt like that was given, and I was just and that's what helping hands was. And it was just something, just helping someone out who couldn't do it themselves, or who just didn't have money at the time or something like that. And that's how that came.
And you started that on your own, just helping hands, just helping. And you're great with construction. You did posted some things that you've helped do, like putting up fences and all kind of
Mm,
stuff that you posted on Facebook. I thought that was so admirable of you to want to start a business, not just to make money. You were helping other people, but you were also helping yourself, just putting
Right.
yourself out there.
Hmm.
Now, we got 10 minutes left. The Virgin Islands. You went to the Virgin Islands to work and you saved a tremendous amount of money while
Hmm.
you were over there. Share why you went to the Virgin Islands and what was your motivation to save all this money?
So I went to the Virgin Islands because I felt as though I wasn't really doing as much as I wanted to here. So I went over there and I could really kind of put myself in a situation that I can better myself and put a lot of money in a place that will further me and further my goals. And because they were paying per diem, they were paying for housing, and I was like, that's just like the perfect situation. And I didn't know roofing, before then, but I learned on the fly. So I learned and they taught me, and I was a good listener and things. So they kind of put me in a good position to make some money, and that's
How
what
did
I
you
did.
hear about this? All the way in the Virgin Islands. You were in
So
Georgia.
it's about who you know, and that's the thing. I met this guy. This is a great story. So I met this guy in prison in electrical class, and I used to just listen to him, listen to his story, tell my story, and I really was intrigued and things like that. And he was saying how he was so good with his hands and his mind and things like that. And I listened to him, and I got his number, got where he was at, and he said, holler at me when I get out. I'm gonna holler at you, but I don't know. He gave me an address. I wrote it, and we stayed connected. And he was like, "Hey man, I got a job in the Virgin Islands. Do you want to come?" And I was like, "Nah, you playing."
Wow.
And he was like, "Yeah." And it's from that I didn't know construction like that, but he said, "Hey,
Wow.
and I said, yeah," and that's how I got over there. That's a crazy story. Yeah, that's how I got over there.
And you went over
Probably
there
he'll be in my second book too.
and you almost came back. You could have come back paralyzed.
Oh yes, yes. That sucked.
Quickly share that story. And then we're
Well,
going back to the whole Smiley name.
so I fell through
Give
the
us a
roof.
short version.
I fell through the roof. That was it. I fell 14 feet down through the roof. Not tied.
Mm.
I didn't tie down properly. I had a harness on, had a rope, but we was moving around, crisscrossing and everything, so I didn't tighten up the rope. And then one of the panels was loose, and I stepped on it and fell straight through. And a couple pallets broke my fall, so I dislocated my shoulder, and I hit my head on concrete. So concrete slab. So I got 8 staples in the back of my head. That I needed that, and I dislocated my shoulder. But right before work, I worked out, so I guess that kind of loosened me up or whatever. So that's why I didn't die. I'm proud of it. Yeah.
My goodness. So with all the hits from football and then
Right.
you hitting
Right.
concrete, you went from bodies to concrete and
Right. And I survived. That's probably what happened.
and you
See, so
survived.
football helped me out. Gave me a hard head.
Wow. I don't know, reading your book, I think you had a hard head as a child.
Oh yeah, man, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
It gave you a harder head. Okay,
Right.
back to the book, because we just got a few minutes now. Your co-author left you a note. It says, I'm one of your biggest fans. Now, I know Robert Congress. Robert is a contributing writer for The Other Woman magazine, an excellent, outstanding writer. And when he hasn't met you either, when
Mhm.
he started working on your book, and I'm sure you've noticed this, he wanted everything to be right. So your book probably could have been out, but when he came on board with it,
Right.
he had a different vision for it, a different vision for your book. Maurice, you have had people just like your uncle. What's your uncle's name again?
Bobby McCray.
Bobby McCray,
Hmm.
and other coaches, and now Mr. Congress, who want nothing but the best for you. So when you look at your life and the people who have been divinely placed in your life to help set you up for success after all that you've been through. It's almost like you have a second chance. You know, well, I don't believe in second chances. I just believe in another chance because we go through second, third, fourth, fifth, so
Right.
many
Right.
chances. Exactly.
Mhm.
So I just want to encourage everyone to purchase Maurice's book. I'm going to put the cover back up here. Purchase
Oh, you
Maurice's
forgot
book.
about the smiley thing.
Yes, yes, yes. Talk about the smiley. Talk about the smiley. How did you come up? Who gave you the nickname Smiley?
It was my first coach in '96. I said when I first started playing um football at Florida City. He he just he said I always smile, so that's gonna be my nickname. So in '96, that's when I got the name my first year playing football.
And you do smile a lot.
Right, I smile less now than I used to, but yeah,
Really? You smile less now?
yes, I smile less, considerably less. Yeah.
So you had a constant smile on your face then, obviously.
Right,
And
absolutely. Yeah.
so why do you smile less?
I guess I'm getting old. It hurts to
Oh
smile.
shoot.
My
Oh
cheeks,
shoot. Oh Lord. You know
my cheeks
what?
are
It
tired.
is time to go. I'm glad we got 2 minutes to go because you know, or maybe you just smile so much now your bones, your facial expressions are just tired. Maybe because you
Right,
smile so much.
right. Yeah, they're
But you know
tired.
what? And then someone says, you have a beautiful spirit, young man. Maurice, you
Thank
have
you.
just blessed and inspired everyone who's watching tonight. And again, please, you all go to www.mauricesmileyharris.com. Let me pull it up again. Let me get rid of the book cover and purchase his book that is pre-order sales are going on now. Pre-order sales are going on now. And you give a little plug for your book, Maurice.
Give a
Go
plug.
ahead. Yes, you got 30 seconds. Plug your book. You get the last closing words.
Oh, I appreciate everyone who tuned in. I appreciate Miss Lavenda for having me on the show. First male. That's it's amazing. And it's women's Women's Month, Women's
It
Awareness.
is in an
Right.
international. Yes, it is. Very
Right.
good that you know that. Well, thank you.
Yeah, so I appreciate that. I appreciate it, and thank you all for tuning in and purchase the book. I will truly appreciate it.
Yes, www.mauricesmileyharris.com. And Maurice worked tirelessly to get this website up in time for the show. What a record, 2 days, and the
Yeah, that
links and
was crazy.
everything. So, that just goes to show the type of person he is, the integrity that he has, the perseverance. Everyone in prison is not, what's the word, Maurice? Finish that sentence for me. Everyone in prison or everyone who has been to prison is not
Prisoners. Yeah,
prisoners.
I know. You caught me off guard with that one. Well, prisoners of evil, and just
Yeah, exactly.
craziness.
Exactly. So someone to say that you have a good spirit, just
Mhm.
seeing you on Facebook Live, it says a lot about who you are, your character, your integrity. And you said earlier that you don't want people to judge you because of the incident. And you also mentioned they're going to do it anyway.
Right.
People will remember forever the one bad thing you did and remember nothing or want to retell anything
Right.
that you did
Right.
good. So, on behalf of Candy Publishing and the Other Woman magazine, we got your back. And we are
I
going to
appreciate
make sure that, along with your co author, Robert Congress, that your book is a success. You're already a success. So, www.mauricesmileyharris.com. Please go and purchase the book. It is, I'm looking for another picture here. I'm not a production person, so that's why I'm so slow. Pre order now, and it is based on a national news story. MauriceSmileyHarris.com. Okay, it is 8:02. So we thank you again for tuning in. And Maurice, thank you for being the first male on the Other Woman Magazine platform. And go and check all those orders, and because they're going to come in. Everybody that's watching,
Woo.
please tell somebody. And also like the Sidelined Facebook page, like the Sidelined by Maurice Harris. I believe that's the name of it, right, Maurice? Sidelined, your Facebook page.
Yes.
Sidelined by Maurice Harris. Yes, please
Yeah.
like his Facebook page and share it, and you're going to see just as much of his book as you see of the beautiful flower on the Other Woman magazine. So you get tired of seeing it, just get tired of seeing it, because it's coming and it will be released this month. Pre-orders begin now on www.mauricesmileyharris.com. Okay, that's it for us, Maurice. Thank you
All right.
again. And thank
Thank
you
you.
guys for joining us.
Appreciate it.